From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
As coronavirus numbers continue to spike throughout Montana, Billings Clinic takes major moves to care for critically ill patients. And the governor's race heats up as the two candidates share blows after Greg Gianforte attended a potential super spreader concert in Helena earlier this month. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Friday night. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Those stories in just a moment. But first, winter is hopping on an earlier than normal flight to Billings this weekend. So let's get right to Q2 Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire. Bob, how much snow?
It's going to be a lot because I think this stuff could stall over us. Let me show you what's going to happen. Right now, we do have this from the National Weather Service. It is a winter weather advisory that starts up in British Columbia. It goes down through western Montana, and now they've included Billings in it. And as you can see, basically from Great Falls in western Montana, we're talking 1 to 6 inches of snow. Here in the Billings area, it's more like 3 to 6 inches of snow. We're already getting a little snow tonight up there in the northeast corner of the state. Could see maybe 1 to 4 inches of snow. But let's just talk about the snow in the Billings area right now. And this is all of our computer models all put together. And this takes us through the weekend into Monday at, as you see, about 5 a.m. And so we're looking at maybe anywhere from 3 to 7 inches. We like to go with the ones in the middle, and they seem to be hovering right around 5 inches of snow this weekend. So we'll see if that comes true. But it's going to be a shoveler for sure. We'll have more about this coming up in a few more minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Bob. Well, 2 COVID-19 related deaths reported today across Montana. The latest, a woman in her 70s out of Lake County, and this morning a resident of Hill County passed away. This brings the state's total deaths to 252 tonight. Now, state health authorities also report 665 new confirmed cases, bringing active cases to just over 7,700 and puts total cases now over 22,000. More than 300 people are in the hospital with coronavirus tonight. Well, not only are hospital beds filling up fast, at Billings Clinic, the intensive care unit is full, actually beyond capacity. The hospital now has coronavirus patients in almost every department throughout its campus. It's to the point now where medical teams, after much evaluation, are working to move patients together into the same rooms. Just this week, staff moved a husband and wife, Stacy and Eloise Stewart Jr., into the same ICU room as their children must now view their parents through a window. We were there today to see how this peak in cases is tough on families and on the Billings Clinic team.
So we'll continue to provide the best care that we can in the spaces that we keep creating. We're being creative in that. But we just implore the community to think twice and give it a chance. We've seen peaks and valleys, and knowing the times when we've had tougher restrictions, we've had lower cases. Fewer restrictions, we have higher cases. And so I think we just have to look at those trends and then just look at what we'd want for our families and for our neighbors.
Now, the hospital is now in the process of building 4 additional ICU rooms, and Billings Clinic will see a wave of extra help as 75 temporary staff from across the nation arrive next week to help. Well, just as Blackfeet tribal leaders extend a reservation-wide shutdown through October 25th, help has arrived there. A pandemic response team from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention arrived yesterday to northwest Montana. The team will provide live updates for the public about the outbreak on the reservation. It will also hold trainings for healthcare professionals. Over the last 10 days, the total confirmed cases on the Blackfeet reservation has jumped by more than 200. And a warning out of Lewis and Clark County tonight. Health officials there say anyone who attended the Let Freedom Ring concert Saturday, October 3rd, needs to closely monitor themselves for coronavirus symptoms. MTN's John Riley explains.
Public health officials say multiple individuals that tested positive for COVID-19 in recent weeks say they attended the Let Freedom Ring concert in the Helena Valley earlier this month. Health Officer Drenda Neiman is concerned given that when they tested positive, they could have been contagious at the event. Neiman says right now it's not about the debate of whether the concert should have been held, but letting people know about potential exposure.
It's really hard for public health to do contact tracing in a situation like that, where we don't know who was there or who is necessarily close to who. Please watch for symptoms. Please be aware that you may have been exposed. Keep an eye and monitor symptoms, and stay home if you have any symptoms. Get tested, and certainly work with public health on isolation and quarantine if it comes to that.
If anyone is experiencing a high fever or trouble breathing, they should seek medical help as soon as possible. A significant crowd size attended the Let Freedom Ring concert, which included 3 bands, vendors, fireworks, and an appearance by Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Greg Gianforte. A large portion of those in attendance did not wear a mask or socially distance more than 6 feet during the concert. Organizer Jerry Steed says people knew the risks coming to the event and believes public health is trying to blame cases on the concert.
I want people to be safe. Of course, I think we owe it to all of us. But for the health department to act like everyone's too stupid to look out for their own self-wellness is ridiculous.
Last week, Lewis and Clark Public Health requested the assistance of the county attorney's office in regards to COVID-19 guidelines not being followed at the event. The county has yet to make a decision on what or if any legal action will be taken and are awaiting additional reports from the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Republican gubernatorial candidate Greg Gianforte's attendance of that Helena concert, now linked to several COVID-19 cases, has become an issue in the governor's race. Democratic candidate Mike Cooney says Gianforte exhibited reckless behavior and should get tested for COVID-19, but Gianforte has declined. MTN's Mike Dennison has more.
Greg Gianforte attended the October 3rd concert and led the crowd in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. The Cooney campaign also released a picture of Gianforte getting his picture taken with a concertgoer without wearing a mask. Cooney said Friday that Gianforte should get tested for COVID-19 and suspend all in-person campaigning until he gets the test results. But the Gianforte campaign says he has had no symptoms of the disease within the past 2 weeks and does not plan to get tested. Cooney said he is getting tested for COVID-19 and noted that Gianforte attended an in-person debate against Cooney in Missoula 3 days after being at the concert. Cooney said Gianforte has consistently flouted public health guidelines by not wearing a mask at public events and is not taking the threat of COVID-19 seriously. Gianforte's campaign says Cooney's statements are the actions of a desperate politician and that he's trying to politicize a public health and economic crisis for partisan gain. Cooney and Gianforte are locked in what's considered a relatively close race for governor, although most recent polls have shown Gianforte with a lead of several percentage points. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Mike. Now, Cooney and Gianforte are running for the seat being vacated by Governor Steve Bullock. Libertarian Lyman Bishop of Kalispell is also on the ballot for governor. And some big news. Tomorrow morning, we premiere the all-new MTN Saturday Morning. It's a chance to start your weekend with some great MTN stories. So pour yourself a cup of coffee and settle in for MTN Saturday Morning. That's tomorrow at 8 on Q2. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News on Q2, with snow on the way, what you need to know about keeping all of your furry companions safe and healthy this winter. Plus, a rivalry is brewing on the gridiron. We'll get you set for Central and Miles City in just a bit.